Welcome. Today we're speaking of unlocking success, how HRBPs and business leaders actually collaborate. Wow. This is a really great question that I'm happy that one of my colleagues in the profession actually shared as the HRO who was asking about how do you get HRBPs to be an influential partner on the business? And that's a really great question. And this question was more so around their initiatives that this organization is deploying, they're falling flat. And he believes that the HRBP is the key to success. Well, guess what? They are your key to success. They're actually just one component, though. And so I want to share with you just some tools and tricks and resources that you can actually use to ensure a healthy strategic partnership with your HR business partners. Now, let me ask you this. The question that I would ask you in response to your question is around how do you use your HR business partners? And I ask the question because one of the things I've seen is that sometimes our HR business partners are overworked. They are in the role of a coach, they're in the role of a trainer, they're in the role of a order taker, so to speak. They're in the role of an employee relations person. And so they're kind of stretched thin and they are doing a lot. And so, how is your organization structured? That would be the first question that I really would ask you. How do you structure your HR business partners to align with your leaders? Are they at the table and do they have the resources and the capabilities and the support that's needed to function in a strategic way? Do they have success? I'm sorry, do they have not success, but do they have the support of the operational leaders or the C-level leaders within your organization where they understand how these individuals are to be used? And that's a key question that I'm asking, because if they are not seen as an ally, if they're not seen as a business partner, a person who really knows and understands that leader and the business, that can be a huge challenge. One of the things that I've seen as I have partnered with HR business partners and top leaders within some Fortune 500 organizations is it really is all about the setup. The setup is going to make all the difference. How you set it up for that partnership to actually work. As a C-level executive, how do you respond when there is a question makes the difference. And then also, how is your organization aligned? So if you have employee, what do you call them? Relations individuals, employee relations professionals. So if you have an employee relations professional, are they lock in step with your HR business partner? Do you have a number that they actually call and it's a pool and a ticket system? How are you actually working together? So that would be the first thing I would like to ask when you're asking the question of how do you ensure that your initiatives are successful and they're falling flat? What's the setup? And then also, do they pretty much have a clear understanding of what the initiative is truly about? See, if they don't understand what the initiative is about, it's going to be hard for them to really sell it, right? And so are they partnering together on the creation of that particular initiative and using data to support that? Or are your HR business partners just giving the information, hey, this is rolling out, you need to go tell your leaders XYZ? And then they're supposed to measure and track and see who does what and report back. That's going to make the difference, right, of how you actually partner with them. So that goes back for my original question is, what is the setup? How do you set it up and ensure that your HR business partners have what they need to be successful and they understand their role in the business? What my recommendation would be is to ensure that each and every initiative that your organization is rolling out, that your HR business partners are working closely with leaders to understand the company's strategic goals. They have to have an understanding of what the goals are, what your function actually does, and ensure that the HR initiatives that are rolled out are in support of the goals as well as the initiative. They go hand in hand, right? So it's not an either or, but they really go hand in hand. They need to understand, what is a strategy? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Why is this important? And what can we do to ensure that we are successful in this particular initiative? My recommendation for you to be able to do that, again, they need to be sitting at the table on the front end so they can kind of help to shape what's happening. Not that they're giving direction, they're giving data and information that you can actually use to build a program or roll out an initiative that is actually desired and needed by the organizational leaders. They're in support of it. They know what's happening. They're providing updates all along the way. Here's what we're working on to meet your need. Here's what it's going to be able to help you do. And then here's how we're going to measure our success from this particular initiative, right? So did you see what I just did there? It was really good. So again, they're involved in it. They're at the beginning and they are providing updates to the business along the way and being able to challenge what is put out, what's being put out or will be put out. Hey, this is why this won't work for my function. This is why this is not impactful for my particular business. And when they understand that it's their business as well, and they're not just the order taker, they have a lot more connection and ownership for that particular initiative. Do they know it's coming? See, if it's coming down the pipe and they know that it's coming, and they're able to say, you know what, this is coming down the pipe. Here's what we need to do. You know, we need to push this out a couple of weeks because it's going to interfere with this. And if it interferes with this, this is where my leaders are actually focused on right now. This is what they're striving for right now. This is what's helping us to be able to move the needle. Here's why this initiative is more important than this one and why it needs to wait, or why we need to bring this one forward sooner rather than later. Because if we delay it, it's going to be extinct to the business and my business won't be able to use it. So again, it's really understanding they're not here just once you've created it, once you package it up, you give it to them, and then you expect for them to make it a success. It doesn't really work like that if you want it to be impactful, if you want it to be effective. They can use the data and the analytics to help you make informed decisions. So whether that's your COE, we'll just say it's a talent management initiative. I don't really know what your initiative is. We're going to say it's talent management. We're going to say it's employee engagement, whatever it is. It could be organizational development. But really, again, all of those decisions that you guys are making or whatever you're working on, it really needs to align with the decisions that the organization is making for its strategic direction. The HR business partner can use the data, not only if this is successful, but again, who should be involved in this? Who needs to be in this particular class? Who needs to, why we need to have this particular training? They're using data to support and drive that decision making, to influence the decision making, right? So we don't make all of our decisions based upon data alone. And so I want you to really think about with your HR business partners, have you set the stage that all of our decisions that we make or anything that we do is based upon data alone. Data helps to drive your decisions. It helps to influence your decisions. It helps you to be able to measure your decisions. But I want you to remember this. Data is only as good as what you put in is what you get out. Put bad data in, bad data out. And so what is it that you're measuring? How good is your data? And this is a great question that I ask because your HR business partners can lose influence and trust with your leaders when they give bad data, when the data is not accurate. When you get in there and you're going through the data and you're looking, oh my gosh, this number is wrong. Once you find that the number is wrong and you don't know how you got that number, how you align to that number, it can create haywire with your HR business partner and the business, and they no longer have a seat at the table depending upon the leader, or their voice isn't necessarily heard. And that's not what we want, right? And so for you to be effective, for them to be impactful, for the business to be able to listen to them and to hear what they're recommending and what they're saying, they have to be business people. That's what I want you to really understand. Your HR business partner needs to be a business person. They're not just in human resources, the people side of the business, but they are in business and they are a business partner and a business leader. And once you change your lens of how you view them and how they show up, then they can actually execute differently. But as long as they are viewed as just an HR person who is here, or just my HR person, this is my HR person, that's it, then it's going to be very hard for them to be impactful. It's going to be very challenging for them to be able to really influence a strong business leader for the direction and the approach, and to get the initiatives that are rolled out to be taken seriously by the business. You have so many competing priorities sometimes that, you really need to have that person who can help to really kind of shape what we're working on to pull that leader back in and help them to see why they may need to do something differently. Your HR business partners actively identify the HR related challenges. So if you had a people challenge, for example, I was just talking to someone, just a leader just yesterday, and they were speaking about a challenge in that particular in their particular organization about a problem that we're solving together. And one of the things that I shared with this particular leader was that your HR business partner really isn't here to babysit your leaders. That's not really what you're using them for if they are strategic HR business partners. Now, if I go back and I look at the data and I see that in this particular function, if I was talking to a C-level exec, in this particular function, what I see is that we'll just say Jim Jones. Jim Jones has 25 cases for his team that are in the employee relations system, we'll just say. And when we do our voice of the employee survey, we see that with our voice of the employee survey, his employees are not really feeling big on his team. And when I look at the data, I see that he has high attrition, low retention. What's happening here? And so I'm using the data to help tell the story possibly. But more importantly, the data is there to help me to ask better questions, to dig a little bit deeper to see what is it that's going on and what is it that I can recommend to help Jim. And so when I'm talking to that leader about Jim Jones and what's happening in his organization, I can say, you know what, maybe perhaps we need to look at Jim Jones. Is he in the right role? Is this a role for him? Does he fit with our mission and our vision and our values of the organization? Is he doing more harm than good? What is he really bringing to the table that we want to keep him on? And what do we need to look at? How can we actually support him if we see that he's definitely well worth the risk? Obviously, maybe in his particular organization, maybe he needs some additional coaching. Maybe he needs to go through a leadership training. Maybe he doesn't really understand our values. Maybe he doesn't understand really our expectations. So it allows us to have a different conversation. But your HR business partner can use the data to be able to share with the leaders what they need to do differently. Or maybe not necessarily even differently or even better, but how can they actually even improve if they're already well? One of the things I remember working with a leader years ago, and this particular leader said, you know what, for my particular organization, we're going through a shift, and I want to make sure that I retain 97% of my top performers. And so the HR business partner could look at the data and be able to share with him, you know, his percentages and what's happening, where he's at risk of being able to hit that number, but also dig deep. Why is that important? If you know that we're going through a transition and there are probably going to be some impact to employees, why do you want to actually keep those particular individuals at such a volatile time? So to be able to understand from that leader's perspective why this is important. What does he consider to be a top performer? Is it a person who has an employee evaluation that's of a certain ranking? What about the employees who are new, who have not yet been ranked? How does he actually identify those particular people? And what is his target and goal to do with those individuals? Is it to place them somewhere else in the organization? Is it a bargaining chip for him? Like, why is this important to him? And so you're able to share that information with your leaders to help them to, again, meet their goals and then solve problems. And so I'm going to say that, you know, that's one of the things you can actually do with your HR business partners when you're thinking about those initiatives. Where do they need to be plugged in? Where does it make the most sense for them to be plugged in? And when you roll them out, what are their talking points? You know, sometimes you don't have a talking point for your HR business partners, and they have so many different things going on that they really don't even know what to say to be able to sell it, so to speak. So give them some talking points, perhaps. Another thing that you can do is make sure you have a strong communications plan. We've spoken about this previously, but your communications plan really is key, and that goes back to those talking points. Again, it's understanding your HR business partners and how they're partnering with your leaders to be effective. One of the things I would like to see when you're rolling out initiatives and you're saying, why are they not successful, even if you have your communication plan, is how do you measure your HR business partner? Do they understand truly how they're measured and how you're holding them accountable and what their role really is? Sometimes we assume that people know, but if you never, ever really communicate it with them clearly and succinctly, they don't necessarily have a clear understanding of what it is they're supposed to do, how they can deliver more than what you expect. And again, what is it that you truly expect? And so for some people, it's, it falls flat because of this, and it falls flat because of this reason. But do you really hear also what your HR business partners are saying, and how can you remove that challenge for them? That's how you ensure that your HR business partners are successful and your initiatives are not falling flat. The other thing I would strongly suggest, it goes kind of back to your communications plan, is marketing. What I've seen in so many organizations, unfortunately, is that they tell, here's what we're doing. That's it. And you're not really making it exciting and fun. You're not really getting people to buy into what you're doing and why we're doing it, and what it's going to be able to allow us to do. And you don't have any energy behind it to push it. We are in a world where things are so conflicted. They're so complex that I'm going to encourage you every single time you have the opportunity to make it energetic, to make it fun, to make it interesting, to make it engaging. Do it. And when you tell a story, tell your story with color. Put some texture into your communications. Get people to see themselves there. Get them excited about what you're doing. Get them connected. Make them have some type of emotion. If they don't have any type of emotion as to what you're sharing, go back and think about, again, how do I share this? Now, I say this because I remember one of the companies I worked with years ago. My manager would always challenge me with the emails or the letters I would write or initiatives that I would, communication plans, change management plans, whatever it is. And she's like, why do you have to always be so motivational and inspirational when you're sending this information out? I got to get people to buy into it. I got to get them connected. I got to get them excited. I got to get them to be able to trust what we're doing, trust our leadership, trust the direction we're headed, see themselves as part of the plan, part of the process, and they are here to help. If you're not doing that, how do you get excited about it? It's kind of like, you come home and you're excited and you got something that you want to give to your family member. Maybe it's a Christmas gift, right? And you're so excited about this Christmas gift. And you just give it to them. And they're looking at it like, okay, thank you. And you're upset because they didn't get excited about all of the effort that you put in and everything you did to go get them this particular gift. And you're upset that they're not excited. They're not excited because of how you presented it to them. Get them excited. Get your HR business partners excited. Get them bought in. Get them connected, man. Give them the opportunity to ask questions. Give them the opportunity to give feedback. Give them the opportunity to truly engage with their business partner before they are rolling this out. Again, so that, they are understanding, the leaders are understanding what's happening, what's expected of them. And then keep measuring. Keep talking about it. Don't let it fall flat, even at the top, and expecting that the HR business partner is going to do all the work at the bottom. You got to continue to drive it home. You got to continue to push it. So if you think of it, your initiatives like a movie, when we go to the movies, then guess what? We see that trailer that's coming out a year before it comes out. Now, I'm not saying take a year, but what I am saying is that you don't just hear the movie and you've never, go to the movie and you've never heard anything about this movie. Somebody's talked about it some kind of way. You had to know about this movie. The actors are going, to the different talk shows and they're talking about this movie that's coming out. They're posting it on social media. You're seeing the trailer. The trailer is coming on television. It's coming on social media. You're seeing it in other movies that you're going to see. They have a campaign that they're doing to push this out, get you excited about it, get you in the theaters, get you hype on the first day. They want you on the opening weekend to buy into this movie and make it number one. And they continue to talk about it, right? And then it transitions at some point, maybe to Amazon or Netflix if it didn't roll out there first. And so even with that, if you didn't go to the movies and see it, then you will check it out in another parameter. So are you putting things in different places and that people can actually see, and giving them different tools and messages that they can communicate to their leaders and get them to buy into whatever it is? So that's what I would actually recommend. So I want to kind of talk to you really quick about some myths and misconceptions, though. And I think this may be helpful with your HR business partners. If you're looking at them as a primarily an administrator or a paperwork handler, stop. Stop. Your HRBPs play a strategic role in the business. They really can help you to contribute to the organization's success simply by aligning, again, your HR or your people initiatives with business goals. And they can help you even beyond HR and people if you allow them to learn the business. HR business partners only deal with issues and complaints. That's not true. A strategic HR business partner may address those concerns, but their main focus is on developing those HR people strategies and initiatives that drive business performance and growth. That's why we love talking about maximizing potential performance and profitability. Some people say they don't need to understand the business. They only need to handle the HR matters. Well, effective HR business partners really have a deep understanding truly of the organization, the industry, the business, the market, and the strategic objectives to provide those solutions and strategies that you need that actually support your business goals. So when you're interviewing your next HR business partner, ask them, how do they develop? How do they learn the business? What is it that they're doing? And then when you're onboarding them, teach them the market, the industry, and the business. Or if you're not going to teach them that, give them the space to be able to learn that and dig deeper, even during the work day. You say HR business partners are not involved in decision making. They only handle HR policies and procedures. They actually should be able to participate in strategic decision making as it regards HR insights and the data that's needed to be able to support that and make strong key recommendations and be able to really kind of help you to think through your decisions and the potential impact. Sometimes leaders have tunnel vision and they're looking at it from one lens. When your HR business partner is there, you can bounce ideas off of, you can talk to things about, and they can give you the potential risk and show you what others maybe in your field are doing or what others within your organization are doing as well, and what has worked and what has not worked. And so I want you to just think about that. They're more important than maybe perhaps you are seeing. And even from an HR perspective, when you're having your team meetings with your HR business partners, are you bringing in the business and allowing your HR business partners to speak to the business? Or are you only talking about HR decisions or what's happening in HR? And then you're doing a round table, a round robin, where you kind of ask people, okay, so tell me what's going on with you, and what's going on with you, and what are you working on? Put a little bit more effort into your meetings so that your HR business partners can also help to support each other. Let's see, another myth we have is HR business partners are only needed when there's an HR crisis. I'm laughing on that one because how many HR crises do you really have in an organization? Yeah, you have some, but really they are proactively contributing to the talent development, succession planning, employee engagement, employee experience, culture of the organization, learning and development, or retention. There's so many different things that HR actually touches that sometimes you don't realize. And if you don't have a voice and you're not necessarily listening to them and hearing what they say, you can miss it. But they can bring a lot of value to your business. They know and have connections that, hey, this is a sharp person. I think that that we may be getting ready to lay off. Or we may be getting ready to, promote them, or we may be getting ready to do something different, roll out a different function or initiative or whatever the case is. And this is a person who could be a benefit to your organization, somebody who I think you should talk to. So they can actually help you do that. Maybe you don't have the ability to, with your top performers, to truly, I would say, promote them. And they want to do something different, but your HR business partners can say, you know what, we have this initiative here. You want to promote them. If they're going to need this particular experience to be able to move into this role from a successor, or even not even from a successor standpoint, but just from a promotion, here's what they're needed, or here's what you're seeing. We can get them this experience over here with Jane. And with Jane, she's working on this. Can you spare them for a couple of hours a week? Let them partner over here and they can drive more business, and you can actually keep them within your organization because you're providing opportunities for them and you're investing in them. That's what your HR business partner can help you do. retain your employees. They have limited influence in the organization. Again, effective and impactful HR business partners have a seat at the table, and they are a trusted and needed voice. They are collaborating closely with not only your leaders, but also their peers and other COEs within the organization to be able to shape the direction and really influence how you work and how you're able to meet your organizational and business needs. So I want you, if you're not using your HR business partners in a strategic way, I want you to think about restructuring their role, redefining their role so that they can be more strategic, and then looking at the HR business partners that you currently have in place and seeing, is that who you need for your organization to be successful today, as well as where you want to go 5 years from now. It really starts with having the right people in the right seats at the table, doing and saying the right things, not taking orders, but being a voice for change, being a voice for growth, being a voice for profitability, helping you to drive revenue. If you would like my insights on what the top organizations are doing to attract and retain talent, including the HR business partners, all you need to do is simply message me and just say the keyword. And the keyword is secrets. And that's when you say secrets, I know what you mean. I'm going to get you my juicy, I'm going to call it a manual, so to speak, because it has some rich insights in there. My juicy manual on secrets that the top organizations use to attract and retain top talent. What are they doing differently? And I can guarantee you they are doing something different. They're doing something better to be able to retain those key individuals. I've had the pleasure of working for some of the world's best organizations, companies that are leading the market and leading the industry. And I've had a pleasure of being able to work with those leaders there, including members of the C-suite, to talk about how do we get those organizations to be number one? Why do people want to go back time and time again? How do they keep their people? Well, if you want to know what they're doing differently, it's not always about spending a lot of money. It's really the simple things that you're probably maybe missing, but are definitely within reach. So if you want that, just send me the word, secrets to any of my platforms. I will know exactly what you mean by that, and my team and I will be sure to get that to you. Until next week, remember to maximize potential performance and profitability. Now, if you want your question answered or your questions answered as it relates to HR leadership, talent management, all you need to do is send me a message, and I will be sure to get your question on next week's Q&A and open office hours. I will see you next week. Remember, we're taking the world by storm, and we're developing the leaders you need and creating a company that talent loves.